Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hey, let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Morning, Kevin. There you are. You're already in the house, so good to see you, mate. Hey, Kumi, all the way from Perth. Great to see you. We've got James. James settled on Ascot. Woohoo! Go, James. Morning, mate. Great to see. That's so good, buddy. So good. And I hear the rents. I hear the rents are awesome as well. 5% straight off the bat down that way or thereabouts. I know the team are all down there trying to lease out those properties. So well done, mate. I think we'll all be pretty happy with those ones, folks. There's a few properties. There's a few that we'll put our foot on in the the early 20s and 21, and some of that pricing. These days, if you were trying to replace that, you'd be easily, 50, 80, $100,000 more. So well done, James. Good work, mate. Great to see that it's all come together for you, buddy. All coming together, which is awesome. Good morning, team. Out and about this morning. Didn't have a chance to get into my studio and get myself set up. A little bit of a slower start this morning, but I thought I'd hang out here and talk to you guys this morning from my deck outside of my office, and got the sunshine over my shoulder here. It's a pretty cool shot. Anyway, hope you're all well. Thought I might talk about a couple of little things, and maybe because I'm a little unprepared this morning. Maybe if you're sitting there and say, there's a question I've always wanted to ask Jason about something, somewhere, somehow, maybe put a question in the chat for me. Put a question in the chat if there's something you think. We've got 15 minutes. We can sit here and have a conversation, a wealth coffee chat conversation. For anyone who's new, good morning, hello. If you are new, Jason Witten's my name. Thanks for joining. This is where a few of us hang out each morning at around about 8:10 with a coffee, and we have a chat. We have a chat about property investing, about going the distance, about making it to our goal, making it to our destination. Takes a bit of time, takes some patience. And if anyone is telling you that it's a get-rich-quick scheme and property is one of those things, then they're full of shit. No, it's not, especially residential. It takes time. It's certainly worth it. And the time frame minimum is 15 to 20 years. You might be already 5 or 10 in. That's fine. But don't give up. Don't give up. Anyway, there you go. So a bit of an invite. If you're there and you think, hey, maybe there's a question I wouldn't mind asking Jason, drop it. Excuse me. Drop it in the chat. But today I thought we would talk about the meeting of 3 beliefs when it comes to wealth and real estate, wealth and property. The meeting of 3 beliefs. And I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to tell you what they are right at the start. Number one belief. I've been doing this crazy thing called property investing and property investment coaching with wonderful, amazing people all around Australia and New Zealand for over 20 years. Thousands and thousands of people, matter of fact, folks. I've sat down across the table and said, hey, what do you want? What are you looking to achieve? What's the outcome here? What's the point of investing in some real estate, investing in some property? And I always listen, because a good coach or a good mentor certainly is one who can listen and hear what you've got to say, and maybe hear what you mean behind the words. And over those thousands and thousands of conversations, I've picked up three belief systems, 3 things that ultimately you need to have belief in that will help you be wealthy or not. And I'm going to talk about those this morning. And if you've got any questions, like I said, put them in the chat. Number one, the first number one belief that I see and hear, and the one that's the most important one, is the belief that you can actually do it. can actually do it. And it sounds funny, you wouldn't think that people would be sitting there, looking to get coaching. You wouldn't think that people would invest money with me, have given me money, say, hey, coach me, coach, mentor me, mentor, and then still not have the belief that they personally can do it. Well, often you need to go through some machinations of trying to get that belief sorted, probably, let's say, from a functional point of view, right? Okay, can I afford it? Look at my budget, get my buying and servicing. Those are kind of functional things. They're tactical things. And even when we go, all right, like the belief that can you do it? Is it something that you can achieve? You've got the money, you've got the borrowing power, you've got all of these things. What's going on? The personal belief, the belief you, not only functionally, operationally, budgetarily, borrowing wise, have got the capacity, but do you have the mind, heart and spirit all together to go on this journey? Nice, Luke. So number one, can you do it? The belief that you can do it. And it's an important one. And certainly for many of us, including me, folks, it's certainly not something that kind of like abracadabraed out of thin air one day. I woke up and went, yes, I can do it, right? So you seek out, you find great people, great mentors, great coaches, great advisors, to work that out with them, because trying to work it out yourself often is quite flawed, because you've only got your reference of the world. And if you want to expand your belief in things, or understanding or knowledge, you want to seek out others who've been down that road before, who know what might be ahead of you in certain terms, and get some assistance, some advice, some help along the way. When you get that sort of stuff organized, well, the steps become less intimidating. The steps become, less scary. It doesn't mean they're less hard. Because I was talking about yesterday, like, choose your hard. Property investing is going to be hard. There's no doubt about it. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to go without things. You're going to have to focus. That's great, Alison. You're going to have to. Anyone said you can have your cake and eat it too, and don't worry about it, and it's all rosy, is talking shit, folks. They're talking shit. Now, maybe your plan will go to plan, and that's fabulous. It's not going to be easy. It's usually actually straightforward, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's not easy. So you've got to stick with it. So the belief that you can do it, not only touchy-feely belief, but functional belief. Okay, number one belief. Then number two belief, which I find people struggle with, and I think this is where many of us get kind of caught up in this crazy 8 loop, this kind of like wait forever loop, waiting for the perfect property to come along, the perfect property. And let me tell you, there's no such thing. The belief in the actual property, or the right property, the belief that I've got to get the right property, the perfect property. It's got to face the right way. It's got to have the perfect house on it. It's got to have the perfect cash flow. It's got to have the perfect growth. It's got to have the perfect borrowing scenario. It's got to have the perfect attraction for a tenant. It's got to be perfect before I do anything. Before I buy any property, the property's got to be perfect. Now, again, this is where a lot of like waiting for the perfect partner. You're dead right, Alison. Yeah, there's no such thing, folks. There's no such thing. There's, often I think with a lot of this stuff is there's a good one that you've analyzed at the time of choice. And once you've analyzed at the time of choice, it's good. You got to put the bloody effort in. Same with, a property. Put the effort in. Go the distance. Sometimes it's not flourishing and not doing exactly what you'd hope and do, but you've got to be patient. Sometimes it's, taking off, and that's fantastic. And sometimes it's in between, right? The perfect property does not exist. It's bullshit. right? It doesn't exist. You know, do I get a house? Do I get a townhouse? Do I get an apartment? Should I buy commercial? Should I go regional? Should I buy, in the city? All good questions. Nothing wrong with those questions. But the belief that there's a perfect answer to those questions, that's the answer. Dun, 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 I've scratched around and found the perfect answer, which means I find the perfect property. No, it does not exist. It's rubbish. I've seen, listen, I've seen wealthy buying one-bedroom apartments. I had a client, a customer of mine, many years ago. This was back 18 years ago, actually. His strategy, which I felt brilliant, he would buy one-bedroom apartments on the northern beaches in Sydney. One-bedroom apartments on the northern beaches in Sydney. Any one-bedroom apartment under $200,000, he would buy, he would furnish it, he would rent it out. One-bedroom apartment. Guess where he is today, folks? Guess where he is today? He's worth $1 million. One-bedroom apartments in shitty old strata title buildings that are ugly, Oh, yeah, apartments don't work. You don't know what you're talking about, right? I have who own land. One of my clients, and only regional, by the way, any house and land, absolutely crushing it. They all work, folks. They all work. One of my clients, actually Kim, his strategy was to buy blocks of apartments that we used to help do that stuff back in our buyers agency days. Actually, I bought him 6 blocks of apartments. And he strata titled them. So they were on one title, he would strata title them. 6 blocks of apartments in regional towns, in regional mining towns. Absolutely crushed it. He went off and did some weird things with the share market and covered calls, which brought him undone. Not his properties, by the way, right? He was up many millions. Just buying a regular secondhand property in the city and renovating. Great strategy. I know many people who've done really well. The point is this, team. There's no such thing as the perfect property. It's bullshit. You analyze at the time based on a bunch of factors that sometimes are restrictive because of your income and capacity, and you buy a good property. You buy a good property. You know it's got some medium to long-term legs in it, and you stay the course. That's what you do. You stay the course. You stay the course, team. You stay the course. So, 2, the belief that you can do it. The understanding or the belief that there's a perfect property. There's not. There's a good property that you keep for a long time that can turn into a perfect result, an awesome result, right? And the third one is this belief, and you might connect it to the market, but it's bigger than that. It's the belief that this idea of wealth will work. And actually, to be honest, folks, I think it's the hardest one. Because for most of us, right? For most of us, we've never been exposed to this idea of like wealth and money and choices. I don't know about you. I had some very humble upbringings. I used to live in a caravan as a kid. Loved it. I mean, I got no regrets. Is where I grew up. Small town in outback Queensland. Our hardware store was the rubbish dump. If I needed some spare parts for my push bike, I literally went to the tip and found old bits to fix my bike up with. We had no money. My mum and dad worked part-time, but we had a wonderful house that we lived in, and I loved where we lived. We lived in the country, and I could roam anywhere I wanted, and I love that. It's fantastic. So many of us, even though we might believe we can do it, we've got to believe, yeah, I can do anything. I can give this a crack, and the belief that we don't have to wait for the perfect property. We know that's a good property. I'll buy it. It's more tangible. It's often that stuff's a bit more short term, but the belief of the idea that wealth will be created, and wealth means money and choices. This one's the hard one because it actually takes quite a long time. And it's the one that I find often people run out of steam with, right? It's like, I've been doing this now for 6 years. Is it going to work? And if you've never done it before, you're like, oh, will it work, right? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. If you look around and you take the longer term view and you forget about all these naysayer tossers who are kind of trying to make their own point, and just you go do your own research. A good property, even a shit property, folks, even a shit property. Now, I'm not telling you to buy a shit property, but even a shit property that you own for 30 years and you've paid off would still be better than not owning a property at all, right? So, you buy, you believe that you can do it. You get a property, a good one that you're happy to own forever. And, you take some time to go the distance and get there. Just those three beliefs, the mashing of those three beliefs, I've found cause so much angst and grief for property investors over the years. And I thought that would be pretty interesting to talk about. Sam and I were talking about that yesterday, talking about, some of the property deals that Sam and the team put together, on your behalf are mind-blowing, fantastic, fan-bloody-tastic. There's only 2 properties in my portfolio that Sam hasn't put together for me, and one's my home and one's my farm. Every other property that I have, Sam and the team have put together, right? So, listen, folks, the idea that, we need to check in. If you're feeling a bit stuck, or you're feeling maybe you're running your wheels or something right now, maybe check in on those beliefs, one of those 3 beliefs. Which one are you losing kind of like faith in? The belief in yourself to be able to do it, the belief in the property to be able to do it, or the belief in the general concept of wealth through property and how you'll, be able to use that to create some financial freedom and some choices in the future. Maybe that's just a reminder. If you're feeling stuck, check in on one of those 3 things. Reach out to your coach and your mentoring team. Hey, I'm a bit stuck here. Help me out. Give me some tips. Maybe see what we're up to as we're going along. All right. There you go. Hey, when I'm not drawing and sharing other stuff, I stay on time. There you go. All right, folks, that's it from me. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Thanks for joining me today. Remember, got a couple of sayings around here. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time to build that property portfolio you want. And buy well, don't sell, unless it's very strategic for a good tax reason, and you're turning it over from one place to another, and you're going to buy another property anyway. That doesn't roll off the tongue as well, does it? Anyway, there you go. All right, team. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. Next week, join me again. You guys have a great weekend. Take care, team. Bye for now.